we'll go ahead and get started, and we'll start the minutes of the last meeting.
President Jack Baker called the Goingsnake District Heritage Association meeting to order at 10:07 a.m. with 16 members and guests present virtually. 97 people have viewed the YouTube video. Secretary Jim Terry read the minutes of the December 19th, 2020 meeting, and they were approved as read. Treasurer Ruth Faulkner's financial report was read by Vice President David Hampton. Total monies as of January 16th, 2021 is $13,948. The report was approved as given. Luke Williams announced that we still have Oklahoma Historical Society grant money for purchases of a laptop computer and scanner. Jack Baker called for nominations for officers. A motion was made and seconded to keep our current officers and passed by unanimous vote. Maribel Chase gave her Cherokee Moment presentation, reading letters from the National Archives written in 1846 to the headquarters at Fort Gibson regarding Cherokee Nation affairs. Shirley Pittengill announced a map exhibit at Fort Gibson of a photo of the Cherokee Nation from the Saline District Courthouse. Luke Williams mentioned dues renewals are going good on our new website. Andy Squires was our featured speaker. Her presentation in search of the portrait of John Walker Jr., the Walkers of Fort Gibson, was about her ancestor, also known as Chief Jack, and the search for his portrait and clothing, and including details about our ancestors and their homes. Jack Baker adjourned the meeting at 11:43 a.m.
Very good. Are there any additions or corrections to the meeting? And note that there were 97 people viewed our meeting online.
That's right.
There aren't that many of us here now. People are watching it around the country. So, okay. Well, if there's no additions or corrections, I'd entertain a motion for their approval.
I so move.
Is there a second?
I second.
We'll put down, Becky is seconding on that. She beat you slightly, Shirley.
Sorry about that.
So all in favor of approving the minutes signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. And David, did you get the treasurer's report?
I did. I got it by snail mail, actually.
And so did I. She sent me a copy too. And written on the envelope, it says internet down.
Yeah, that's what mine said. So that was several days ago because this mail is slow. She had to send that early. Okay, total checking balance January 16th was $5,287. Income from dues, $1,961. Payouts to Siloam Springs for printing the Messenger, $700. To Luke Williams, reimbursement for $1,111. So total checking balance as of February 20th, $5,435. CD balance beginning $8,661. Interest earned 1 month, $2. Ending CD balance $8,663. Total of all money $14,099.
Very good. I'm wondering if she didn't make an error in the income, because $1,960 is awfully high for the dues. I think that included the reimbursement check from the Oklahoma Historical Society for our grant. And I don't remember exactly how much that was.
No, we got that the month before.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
Well, $1,960 is good.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. She didn't give, sometimes she gives us a list of the new people, but she didn't do that this time. I didn't get a list.
I didn't either. Okay. Are there any questions on the treasurer's report? If not, it stands approved as given. Okay. Next, we will have Mary Bell's Cherokee Moments.
Okay. Thanks, Jack, and good morning, everyone. My Cherokee Moments for this morning is a repeat of what I gave to the Tulsa Cherokee organization on June the 3rd, 2014. And I couldn't recall if I had given this at the Goingsnake meetings in Westville. I just couldn't recall, and I couldn't find anything that would indicate that. But of course, many of you were aware of our holiday that we had Monday for President's Day, commemorating George Washington and Abraham Lincoln's birthdays. And that brought me to think, you know how your mind works. You think of one thing and then you think of another. So I thought of the Washington Monument and I thought of the during the inauguration, all the lights that were coming, and it was beautiful when they showed it on television, of the lights that were streaming from the Washington Monument. And so that made me think of this Cherokee moment that I had given to the Tulsa Cherokee organization. And I was wondering how many of you are aware that the Cherokee Nation sent a commemorative stone to be placed in the Washington Monument in 1850. And so that's what my Cherokee Moments is about, and it's going to be short and sweet this morning. And during the time in 2014, when I first gave this, a few weeks before that, the Washington Monument was reopened, and this was after several years of being repaired as a result of an earthquake in Virginia that damaged the monument. And the Washington Monument to honor George Washington was built in two phases of construction. The first phase of construction was 1848 to 1854. And the second phase was 1876 to 1884. The monument was first accessible to the public in 1886 and was closed much of 1887 until it could be better protected from vandals. And then it reopened in 1888 with a public elevator. Visitors making the ascent could view commemorative stones set in the walls from various individuals, civil groups, cities, states, and countries from around the world. Today, there are 193 of these stones. And I have a description of the stone. This, and incidentally, this information is on the National Park Service website. And the information, and they give a picture of the stone. The 1850 is very, very faded, but Cherokee Nation is beginning to fade a little bit, but it's still, you can still recognize that that's what it is. And this stone is located, and I have never been inside of the Washington Monument. I've been there and seen it from the outside, but I've never been on the inside, and maybe some of you have. But the stone is located on level 220 feet, and it indicates donor, Cherokee Nation, dates 1850 to 1885. So this stone was given right at the beginning of the construction of the Washington Monument. The original material is limestone, The dimensions are 1 feet 4 inches by 3 feet 8 inches. Sculptor and carver not known. Original inscription, Cherokee Nation, 1850. Excuse me, my voice has just been giving out on me. But this intrigued me. And I had read somewhere about this stone that was given. And I thought, well, I'm surely not dreaming that. And I tried to find it back in 2014 when I gave this presentation. I searched all my books and my documents for the citation stating that the Cherokee Nation had sent this stone to be placed in the Washington Monument. And I thought at the time that it had appeared in the Cherokee Advocate in the 1880s. And so I wanted to confirm that the year that it was sent was 1850. And of course, the stone itself says 1850, but I wanted to be clear concerning the year. And at that time, I could not find where I had read this information. And after a while, I gave up searching for it, and I never gave it another thought until this past Monday when we were celebrating the birthdays of George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. So I thought some of you would be interested in this information, and maybe one of you can find out more about it. I was interested in who had sculpted the stone. And of course, the information was unknown, that the National Park Service had indicated that the sculptor was unknown. And I would be interested to know, and it was marble too. I think I gave that. Did I give that? No, it was limestone. Yeah, limestone. Okay, so anyway, that concludes my Cherokee Moments for this morning.
Well, I still have the picture and the paper that you gave over at Goingsnake in Westville.
Oh, so I did give it there then.
Yes.
I thought I had.
Yeah.
But I had a handout that I had gotten from the website. At the time, I had just typed in Washington Monument, and so it brought up the National Park Service website, and that's where the information is. But I thought that was so interesting that the Cherokee Nation at that time would do that. I would never have in a million years thought that there would be a connection. So it all came back to me this past Monday.
That is interesting. And if I remember correctly, along about the same time, the Cherokee Nation sent a contribution to Ireland to help with the potato famine.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So, and actually, since Marybelle gave me Cherokee Moments, I'm going to give one also that I think it's rather appropriate because we were talking about the vaccine earlier. And this is an excerpt from my editing of the Penelope Johnson Allen's manuscript, History of the Cherokee Nation, particularly the Chickamauga group. And it's smallpox in the Cherokee Nation in 1806. It says the spring of 1806 is memorable in the annals of the Chickamauga Cherokees, which would have been once living around Chattanooga, for the severe scourge of smallpox which broke out in many families along the Tennessee River. Several times before, the nation had suffered from this terrible disease, and the epidemic of 1806 spread fear throughout the tribe. On February 17, 1806, Principal Chief Pathkiller wrote to Colonel Meigs from Chickamauga, "Friend, the smallpox are spreading through the nation and it's got as low as Mr. Brown's," which I believe is John Brown, which is at Creek Path. time. It says, do friend, procure as quick as possible some of the cowpox and send it to Mr. Ross without loss of time, which would be Daniel Ross, father of John Ross. We wish a doctor to come on also, possibly some of the doctors of Knoxville or Maryville, maybe in possession of the matter, or possession of the matter. If not, procure it from the north and by the post. In complying with this request, you will be instrumental in saving many lives. Then in answer to this appeal, Dr. McNeil of Kingston came into the nation, and Kingston is where Southwest Point was, and it's where the agency was. But some of the natives were opposed to his treatment, and he returned home shortly. Colonel Meigs received the following communication from some of the chiefs written on March 5th. Brother, as we have not employed Dr. McNeil to inoculate our people, which is owing to the impossibility of the patients attending to the doctor's directions, therefore you are pleased to pay the doctor McNeil's charges, which is $150, and charge it to the nation. We did not expect to have seen the doctor here, as we never sent for one. So we're your brothers, the Glass, Dick Justice, John Boggs, and Charles Hicks, interpreter. And then this bill was paid out of the Cherokee annuity to Dr. McNeil at Hiwassee on October 27th, 1808. But word of the illness of young John Ross in the home of Thomas M. Clark at Kingston reached the family. And John Ross was living with the Clark family and attending school and also helping the clerk in their store at the time. And on March 24th, 1806, his father, Daniel Ross, wrote to Colonel Meigs from Chickamauga. Sir, having understood that Mr. Clark had got the smallpox in his family, induces Mrs. McDonald to visit her grandson, although we have no doubt of his being well taken care of under the disease by the family he is in. And I'm not sure I'd seen before where John Ross had smallpox in any of the biographies. I didn't go back and check, but it may be recorded. But his grandmother had to go see and make sure he was okay. Mm-hmm. Said, we should have employed Dr. McNeil in this neighborhood when he was down, but as some of the chiefs did not appear willing to introduce this mode of inoculation, I did not think proper to make a beginning without their approbation. The doctor's charges also appeared so unreasonable to all, they preferred taking their chances till the kind pox could be brought into use, it being the kind that Pathkiller spoke for. So here we have the two kinds of vaccines. So it is understood with much satisfaction that you use your best endeavor to procure it, and that by this time you're in possession of it. And the Dr. McNeil does not appear to think as favorably of it as I do. I must still think the nation will acknowledge with a grateful heart that you're the savior of many of them by its introduction through your means and in its purity. If, sir, you're able to obtain the vaccine before Mrs. McDonald and Joe Cootie leaves the point, be so good as to send me on some of the infection with what directions you may have in your power to give, and I will see to its circulation. So they still were concerned with vaccinating the Cherokees in 1806, which I thought was rather interesting.
Very interesting. Thank you.
Surely. Okay. Do we have any other or any old business to cover? Or do we have any new business? Okay. Well, if we have no old or new business, then we will get to our presentation, and it's Troy Wayne Poteet. He's going to go over the new website for the Trail of Tears Association and show us what all is on there.
Just say this while you're figuring that out. Jack and I did a presentation for the Central Oklahoma Cherokee organization a month or two ago, and went over this. Were any of you all, did anybody attend that meeting? I guess none of this group. So,
No.
and I'll say what we've done during this time when we couldn't travel, we channeled that resource to upgrading and expanding the website with the idea that we would be almost a clearinghouse. We'd be the place that if you're looking for anything about the trail, you can come here and you'll find a wealth of information. And I think it's already slowed down. We would get these calls every once in a while from someone saying, could you tell us where to find some information about this and that? Well, we just can point them now to this website and say, well, just go here and click around and you'll find something. There's a lot of stuff there for the people that don't know much at all. There's the information about the, and I've, well, there's the window that I want to go to, and there I am. Does that show you all the homepage for the Trail of Tears website?
Yes.
Okay. So the same group that does the Goingsnake website handles this one for us. And they also help us with newsletter layout and program layout, and that's kind of helpful. That makes us a big account for a small firm, so we're pretty high up their list, and they're very creative. And since we had some resource to do that with, you can see how it's set out here. I think that this bar right at the top, maybe that's a little bit much, but we were getting frequent calls about genealogy, and so we've got a place here that clicks them right to the Heritage Center. I don't think anybody else is, we have the best genealogist in the world in the room right now, but they don't want to have to deal with this any more than I do on just a regular basis. So we've got this link that takes them right to a place that is equipped and designated to help them. And at some point we want to add to this or make a way. There's a video from one of the most prominent Cherokee genealogists in the world talking about genealogy generally, and we want to make that available from this page somewhere, but maybe not the very first thing. We might move that down somewhere. So you can see how this, if we just scroll down the page, this is the place where we put new stuff. And so right now, some of the latest things we've added are the cemetery markings that we'll get to. Well, we might as well look at them now. They're under the resource section, but David has provided us with a list of all the graves that have been marked, the cemeteries where they are, and such books as there are, the little booklets. And so all of that is go through here, all these books that David has put so much effort in. You can pull those up. For instance, here's the Goingsnake marking, which this would, well, the page is supposed to turn. Let me turn it down here. And you all are pretty familiar with what information is given in these booklets. So we've got that. Then this is something new, the removal routes through Arkansas that we'll look at later. This was the brainchild, this message from the director of my video guys, and I'm not, it's me talking for a minute, telling in short form what I want to give you guys in long form, so we'll skip that. This is probably one of the most expanded areas that we have. I'm not going to go there, but we have all the past newsletters, and they're done up in a way so that the hearing impaired folks can utilize them, and I think even visually impaired is what I understand. There's certain federal guidelines, and we had the guys fix our past ones up in that fashion. I don't know much about that, but the reading list, we frequently get inquiry from students, and so one of our members, who many of you will be familiar with, I'm going to try to click and bring it up. Marge Lowe's a retired school teacher in Houston, and she developed a reading list for students. Here's a bio about her. You can print the download the list, and the inquiries from students come through us, and then we refer them to Marge, and that's a tremendous help to have. And this is going to be one of our big areas here when we get to the research reports and papers. So you see there's the cemetery marking. We featured prominently what we have from the other tribes. These are dissertations. We will ask their representatives to, on our board, to direct us to dissertations or other documents relative to the trail, to their removals, that we have, that they would like for us to recommend to the public, and we'll add those here. And this page of resources, as we gain more and more resources, we'll start to create categories or lists or something like that. But as you come down through here, here's the brochure, which you all are familiar with, the Trail of Tears brochure, the great big wide piece of paper with all kinds of artwork and maps. Each of the states is developing that. So we've got the one from Tennessee and Georgia. I think there is one from North Carolina, and we'll eventually get a digital copy and make that available. Here are the restoration guideline booklets that were developed by Southwest Tennessee University. And there's a third one, that booklet that they've done now on transportation. It shows wagons, railroad cars, watercraft, all the things, the transportation devices used during the trail period. Here's speaking of railroads, here's a
Oh, wow.
a very detailed paper about the railroad in North Alabama. And this is a very comprehensive report done by the former Alabama chapter president, Gail King. And I'll click and open it up. So give you guys sort of a feel for the scope and depth of what's offered here. You'll see that Michael Wren, who's with us today, helped Gail develop this. And I just want y'all to notice here somewhere, this is just a table of contents, and you note here there are 645 pages in this report. And I'm pretty sure that if you read down through this acknowledgement, you're going to find that Mike had a tremendous amount to do with this. and this thing is just full of, you know, you get these, bring these up and look at them, just the background that are offered, that's offered in these reports is incredible. Just in this one report, there's just so much background about removal generally. And that's just one report out of, you know, however many are here. This is the removal routes through Arkansas that was featured at the front when we first put the site up several months ago. This was brand new. Sequoia Research Facility, Research Center, National Research Center, that Dr. Littlefield heads in Arkansas, have put this together. And one or the other of these, oh, here we go. You get down here, here's the link where you can go to this offering and see all these routes through Arkansas, and then hone in on one of them. And here's information about that particular place along the trail. And then you can expand it and see by place, you know, by tribe. So, you know, you could spend just hours and hours, depending on what you're looking for on that, you know, just on that site. Missouri has developed something similar that will connect to that through their chapter page. So these are reports. I want to go now to one of the resources that it's not written, it's videos. And so we have different lists, y'all, of by year. And I will say that the more recent year of conference videos, the quality of the film, because our cameras are better, you know, we've and the sound is better. There's a lot of good stuff in the older ones, and we are trying to devote some resource to taking some of the older ones, like the ones from the Dr. Riggs did some on creek removal on the Natchez tribe. He's providing us his PowerPoints, and with his PowerPoints, we will try to go into these videos, and instead of you seeing a shot at the screen like you do down here on, well, 18 or 17, in the film, we'll take the actual images he used in the PowerPoint, drop them in the film. So all of this stuff this is our start, and we'll continue to add to it and refine it and correct misspellings and other problems as they're so let me go back home and say that here's a critical place where it says donate or join. And so, well, that's just donate. I was looking for cancel and return to Trail of Tears Association. Let's go here to the association. There's a page that connects us to the board of directors, newsletters, how to become a member. Let's check on that just a second. Here's all these different options for joining. There's a Phoenix Society, which is where members contribute extra. and each one of the states has a web page, and those web pages connect you to their Facebook pages and to their websites, their own websites. And some of the, the chapters have, the Georgia chapters is very extensive. There's the link back to us or to the Park Service. And there's a place to contact us. There's a place to buy something. And so anyway, that's as you come down this front page, here's the Park Service video. And somewhere here, there's a link to the Facebook page. So I think that that kind of acquaints you all with it, and I'll field questions if anybody's got any, or